So today it's time to look at the TVC1 figure line. And there are 115 of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mando number 5.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel, Mando number 5, and I'm Keith Guppy. So today, welcome to episode number 28, part 2 of my modern vintage line figure focus series, where I look at all the modern lines of Star Wars figures, 3.75 inch from 1995. And yes, we're on part number 2 of the TVC1 line, so we're looking at the figures this week. So as I explained last week, we're doing the TVC lines 1 and 2 over 4 episodes because the series of figures is just so huge. So we did the ships and playsets last week. And this week, obviously, we're doing the figures I've just said. And then at the end of the episode, I know I did the figures and the beasts and playsets prices last week. I think we'll recoup those. We'll go over it again. But this week, we'll include the figures. So we've got a total value of the TVC1 line. So I've got a bit of a confession to make. I haven't got all TVC1 line. In fact, I'm probably missing about half the figures, and I'll go into that in a bit of detail later on. So, if I'm honest with you, I'm not an expert. I know there's people out there watching that are much better experts on the TVC line than I am. So I'm going to do my best today, but I've actually recruited or brought in a star guest. Yes, Nick from Only One Kenobi. A great guy. He's going to help me out a bit later on and go through some of the card back variants for you because he knows a hell of a lot more than I do. We're also obviously going to look at the top 5, maybe go as far as the top 10 valued figures. We're just going to do the basic European releases. I'm not going to go into all the Canadian releases and all the different variants. Nick will go into that a little bit later on, but I'm not going to give you all the values of those because we could go on forever. So the value of the line I give you is going to be just a basic set of figures that you can get widely in Europe. United States versions aren't much difference. I'm going to generally go into ones that have been punched because I know some figures, maybe Cody unpunched, and they can reach hundreds of pounds. So again, I'm not going to go into that. If you want to see a video like that in the future, then just let me know. So it's going to be a basic line that I value this week. We'll also look at some of the grails because there's some massive valued pieces out there. We'll go into a few of those as well this week. We'll also take a look at a few variants. I'm not an expert on the line, so I'll try to capture as many as I know about. But again, if I don't cover any, just chuck them in the comments and I'll probably learn a few things as well. So where did it all begin in 2010? It began with Dengar on the Empire Strikes Back card, VC01. Lovely figure. Now, a lot of the TVC1 line, as you all know, has been re-released in the last few years. So I think you're going to be quite surprised next week when I actually go through the value of all the figures, because it's probably a little bit lower than you think, and probably a little bit lower than it would have been 2, 3, 4 years, and certainly during COVID. So the cardbacks were obviously produced to look very similar to the original cardbacks from the late 70s and 80s, which is why it's attracted so many modern collectors. In addition to the 115 TVC1 figures that were released, the basic line, you also had a number of Revenge of the Jedi figures. They also come out in the Death Star Comic Con pack, which I'll go through a bit later on. So they had the classic Revenge of the Jedi, which was what Return of the Jedi was obviously going to be called before they changed their mind to Return of the Jedi. And then you also had, I think, about 11 or 12 foil sort of chase figures with a racetrack in silver. It's really, really cool. And some of these can be very, very expensive. This is a Magna Guard CAS 90, which is a really nice grade for that. And these could be really sought after. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the TVC1 line and all the cardback variations. And it's an absolute minefield. You've got offer stickers, no offer stickers. You've got Darth Maul offer stickers. You've got more Boba Fett's offer stickers. You've got punched and unpunched. You've got Canadian cardback variations, USA, European. The list goes on. And I'm not an expert. No way am I an expert. And there's people out there who know a lot more than me. And one of those is my really great friend, Nick from Only One Kenobi. Nick has kindly offered to come on today and run through some of those main variations. If you haven't checked out Nick's channel, Only One Kenobi, do it right away. He's got a fantastic collection of TVC carded figures, which you'll see a bit of in a minute. And he's also got a fantastic loose collection. So go on, check that out. For now, Nick, take it away, mate.
Hello there. Yeah, cheers, Keith, for reaching out to do this collaboration. It's an honor, and congratulations on 1,000 subscribers as well. So TVC 1.0 between 2010 and 2012, that's my favorite thing now in the vintage collection to collect, only because of the sheer variancy and variety of stuff that you can get. I'm just using a gimbal here, so I just thought it would be easier just while I waffle on, and I will go in on a few things as required. So the main things I wanted you to be aware about, if you're watching this and you're interested in 1.0, are the main areas. The first thing to know or be aware of is that the first few waves, or the first early waves, were factory punched, just like 2.0 was all factory punched. There's an example of one right there, that Boba Fett and that Luke right there. But then after that, things became unpunched. So that means they've got the hanger tab has a little insert in it. So you've got punched and unpunched. Majority is unpunched. Depends if it's been in a shop, of course. The other thing that you need to be aware of is US and Canadian variants. And then you've got Ophilus. You've got the Revenge and Return variants, of course, as well. And finally, foil cardback. So I'm going to go in on a few of those examples to show you what you can find in this line. I'm going to change the camera angle now. So as I showed you just a minute ago, you've got the first few waves were punched, and the few exhibits of that are here. I don't have lots of runs of variants for certain characters. For example, yeah, you've got there Dak Ralto. I've only got one figure for him, but he was very early on in the vintage collection, as was this gentleman, the AT-AT Commander. And then you got, where is my man? There he is, right down there. The very first figure in TVC is my man Dengar. He was factory punched as well. And then after that, you see they reissued a few figures that were then unpunched, which means they've got the insert there, as you can see. And most of the figures in TVC are unpunched. I mean, it depends what you bought from eBay. Somebody might have punched out the hanger hole on there. And, you know, for example, right now I've got a Luke over here, which I want to upgrade, but that's a Revenge Luke. And that is punched, sadly, but that's because that's the way it was. Everything else, I tend to go for things that are unpunched, most definitely, like all those layers there. And the variancy is wide. If I go down to my row of Admiral Akbars there, I've got probably more variants of Admiral Akbar now than any other character, I guess, although that is up for debate. You've got lots of multiple variants of Vader there, which is the same card number, VC08, but you can get him on, you know, Empire Strikes Back cardback, and also Revenge and Return cardbacks as well. Same VC card number, so there's multiple variants for him. But one of my most interesting characters to collect is Akbar nowadays. And in this line, you've got, well, that's a reissue there on the left from 2.0, but you've got the Return cards, and then you've got the Revenge cards. And then you have Ophilus cards like this one right here. Ophilus means it doesn't have a sticker on, an offer sticker, but also more importantly, it has nothing in the bubble. So if you have a figure that has a clean card back with no sticker on it, if it has one of those inside it, it is not Ophilus. So that's something you really need to know about. But if I pull back there, that's Akbar there. Same with Wicket. You've got Revenge and Return variants for Wicket. Lots of different ones. If I go down the line, that's the reissue 2.0, so we're not talking about that today. But you've got the Return, you've got the Return Ophilus, you've got the Revenge, you've got the Revenge Ophilus, and you've got the Revenge. What's this one, ladies and gentlemen? Well, this one here is a Canadian variant. Now you can see from the back it's Canadian, but there are multiple Canadian variants in 1.0. There's one there. You can tell it's a Canadian by the sticker on there. The Boba Fett sticker, that's a regular Boba Fett sticker. But this one here, you've got multiple languages on the actual sticker itself. And you've got multiple languages in the bubble. I love Canadian variants. The maddest one I have is this one for the Hoth Echo Base. That's a regular pill for him, the Echo Base Soldier, I guess. But look at that, multiple language there. The most famous Canadian is the Yoda there. See, multiple languages. You've got it in Spanish, English and French, I believe. And you've got also foil variants. I mean, Keith, I did try to keep this in 5 minutes, but I think I'm almost hitting that mark now. There's so much to say. Foil variants, they only did this in the very early waves. There's a few chases that you can get that are foil, and they're highly collectible. Going over here, let's have a look at some prequel stuff here now. Certain characters, you've got multiple runs for them. For example, the clone trooper here, you've got as I said, the early wave was factory punch, so that's not been pushed out by anybody. It came like that. Then you've got the foil. Then you've got the unpunched re-release there. And see, that's got an offer sticker on for Boba Fett. And then I've got another one, which is offerless. Again, there's no sticker on there, and there's nothing in the bottom of the bubble. No paperwork, like that one has paperwork there. So there you are. I mean, I could go on all day, ladies and gentlemen, but there's quite a lot to say, quite a lot to discover. So if you are unfamiliar with my channel, do give it a subscription, but I'm sure Keith will go into some more details as well. But there's a lot to discuss and unpack. And if I just pull back one last time, you can see how some characters, I have got multiple runs of them. That's because they either have, you know, Canadians in there, or Revenge and Return, or Offerless, or whatever. And I quite like finding the multiple variants and then putting them all together in one run, and it kind of stands out, and it's quite satisfying to see them all together. So I love it. So there's a lot to discuss there. Thank you for listening. Back over to you, Keith.
Wow, thanks, Nick. What a great 5-minute intro into the Cardback variations. And you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it's a minefield out there. There are so many, and I bet you're all thinking, thank God, a professional on the channel at last. Totally agree. And if you haven't seen Nick's channel already, check it out, Only One Kenobi, and you'll see much more of that TV series collection and his loose collection, which is superb as well. But check it out. Thank you, Nick. And as I said, please check out Only One Kenobi's YouTube channel, and you'll find out loads more interesting and informative information about the Vintage Collection line. I'll leave the link in my YouTube episode description. Anyway, let's move on. So, I want to talk about a bit more detail about the 115 figures that were launched between 2010 and late 2012. This is the basic line, I mean. Now, before I get into a bit of detail about some of the prices, I want to just talk about a couple of subjects. One, firstly, is the relaunch of some of the figures over the last few years. Very quickly, I don't want to labour on it too much. I might go over a bit more of the TVC2 line, but as you know, you had things like Darth Maul that was launched back in, 2012. And then another example of a relaunch in 2020. Now, what this has done to some of the figures, and out of the 115 figures, I would probably say that if we hadn't had relaunches, nearly every one is probably going to be 50, 80, a lot over £100 each. But these relaunches have just brought the prices down a little. So when you see the overall number, it's a little bit lower than you may think. But a few years ago, it probably would have been a lot higher. For instance, Darth Maul, probably before the relaunch of this one in 2020, might have been now an 80 quid figure, 90 quid figure. Now it's probably only about maybe a 40 or 50 quid figure. But they are recovering. They get relaunched, and then the originals do recover. The original ones probably, don't know, 15, 20 quid. So, you know, that's quite a good example. And then one of the real good examples is going to be Ahsoka and the Republic Trooper. Now, Ahsoka, this is the TVC2 one, so excuse that for a minute. But the TVC1 version, particularly in COVID, as you probably know, was going for £600, £800. It was absolutely bonkers. And then the prices relaxed a little bit after COVID. It was still very high, maybe £400-500. And then they relaunched it. And this relaunch figure you can get for about 15 quid now. But the TVC one has recovered. It's probably still, even now, about £150, maybe even £200 if it's unpunched, and maybe a little bit more. So, you know, they have recovered, but it has brought down the price of TVC one quite a lot. Now, there's two schools of thought on this. Is that unfair to people paying a lot of money for TVC one line? but that would be unfair on new collectors, or is it better for new collectors because they can buy these figures at a massively reduced rate? The Republic Trooper is another example, not quite as much, probably, I don't know, £200-300 in its prime, and now again the new release version you can probably get for £20-30. So just want to talk about that very quickly. Now before I get on to, I'm going to go through my top 10 most expensive TVC one-line figures. But firstly, I just want to go give a few shout-outs to some of the figures I've got, because I'm ashamed to say a lot of the top 10, I think, I don't know if I've got any of the top 10, so I'll put my hands up right now. But what I have got is quite a few nice graded ones that are all around about the £90 to £120 mark. And if you go on eBay, there's quite a scattergun approach to prices. Some eBayers out there think they're worth a lot more than they are when they're not. So in no particular order, some of the figures I really like, and they happen to all be around about £100 marker. This one here, this is a CES graded 95. I love the look of this Clone Wars Anakin. It's absolutely great. I mean, you've got the blue skirt and the blue sort of outfit with the blue pill in the background. Really lovely. I love the way he holds his lightsaber. This has been relaunched, but prices for this one's pretty good still. I mean, this is an unpunched 2012, so loose would probably still cost you probably 80 quid now, but really, really cool. I mean, that's a grade 95, so you really don't get any better than that for a TVC1 figure. Really, really nice. And there's a back on it, but really, really nice European release version. So that's really nice. And then some of the Jedis are really, really cool. Very original. I don't think this one's been released in any other line. It's Ek Search. I think that's right. But Jedi from the Battle on Geonosis. Really cool. Love his robes. Soft goods. Really, really nice. This is graded CES 90. One I would have got graded again. But really, really nice. I think that's an American backing card. But a real lovely figure from Attack of the Clones. Again, probably about £90 to £100 if you want to get that figure. But a really, really nice. Love the card. I mean, there's so many TVC1 figures in cardbacks that I love, but they're really, really cool. And then you've got this one. This is Princess Leia. Princess Leia we'll talk about a bit later on. That's a very popular figure. It's almost a Slave One, same figure underneath the sand cloak or whatever you want to call it. This is from one of the deleted scenes. I think there are 4 or 5 from the deleted scenes. This one, A-Wing pilot, Lando, Luke making his lightsaber and stuff. But this is a CES 90 plus, so another really, really big grade. This was just out of the top 10. This is probably 100, maybe £110 figure. This was unpunched as well, so really nice. Not graded, obviously graded prices will be a lot higher, but I'm talking about when they're loose. But I really, again, a really popular figure. And then, like I said, no particular order, but I do love, this is probably one of my favourite ones because Empire Strikes Back is my top film ever. So, this is an AT-AT Commander. Not a fantastic figure, but I love it for the background, the AT-ATs. And you see a snow speeder as well, just like the original Cardback. Really, really nice. I absolutely love that. The dark blue pill on it. And that's... this is CAS 90 again, one I sent off a year or so ago, but really, really nice. Really nice. And there you see the original scene on the background for the original AT-AT Commander. But really cool. One of my favourite figures from the line. It looks cracking in that case. Again, about probably, £100, maybe £110 on the right day. And then another one from the deleted scene that I really, really love. Rebel pilot Mon Calamari. Such a shame they didn't show more of the A-Wings in Return of the Jedi. I love the backdrop. I mean, look at that scene in the background. You've got an A-Wing fighter. You've got the Death Star in the background, but a cracking picture. Love that. Love the figure as well. Love the helmet on him as well, which comes off. Cracking figure. Again, probably a little bit less. That one's probably about £70-80 loose. Again, this is one graded. Graded AFA, sorry, unpunched. Graded AFA 85. So really nice version with the Darth Maul life-size figure offer. So really, really nice. And then the last one we'll talk about until we get to the top 10 most expensive figures.
is Darth Morgus. I love this one from the expanded universe. I mean, look at that card back, absolutely gorgeous. Not been re-released as yet. AFA 85, sorry, not AFA, UKG 85. You know, cracking piece, absolutely stunning. Love a look at that card back. I think for me, the attraction to this series is really the card backs, if I'm honest. I mean, some of the figures are pretty cool, but there you go, really cracking figure. And actually, I got one more I want to just show you, and they did this in Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin. This is Revenge of the Sith ones, and I love this because it's got the Mustafar picture on the background, so it's kind of like lavery and flamey effect, which I think is really, really cool. I think these have been re-released in the TVC2 line. This is UKG 90 with a Boba Fett sticker offer, but really, really nice. Again, this is held its price pretty well. This is probably £80–90. Unpunched probably if be a bit more than that. So really, really nice figure. Excuse me. But yeah, really, really cracking figure again. Yeah, from 2010. But there you go. There's some of my favourites from my collection. But you know, let's have a quick talk about all the 10 highest valued figures. Not the grails. We'll go for the grails in a minute, but just the main release figures. Sorry, there were actually 3 more figures I want to talk about, which I nearly forgot before we get into the top 10. Again, all about 90 quid. This is Darth Sidious. I love this one because you've got the lightsaber going across the back of the scene. You've got his face, you know, he's snarling. I think it's a really, really cool looking card back again. Figure's not bad as well with his lightsaber. Again, about £90, that one there. And then I'm a sucker for commanders, clone commanders, as you know from past videos. This is a popular one. This is Commander Gree from Kashyyyk before he gets his head chopped off. Revenge of the Sith, obviously. He's really, really cool. Again, probably a £90, maybe £100 figure, but really, really nice. One I wouldn't mind getting graded. This one's unpunched, a little bit dusty, but you know, really nice. Another nice figure. And then finally, this one's a bit creased, but one I really like. I think it really pops because I think it's because it's got the name pill and then the Rebel logo in blue, and they really look good together. So this is Dak Router. This has got a crease, but in good condition. Again, this is another probably 1890 figure with the free Boba Fett offer. So really, really cool figures. So that is really it. And now let's get the top 10 valued figures for the TVC1 line. So let's have a look at the what I think is top 10 most valuable TVC1 figures. Now, it's not these. I've just put these up because these are a few of my other graded TVC1 figures. But top 10. So starting at the lowest value, obviously, we've got Clone Commander Cody. Now, Clone Commander Cody, if it's unpunched, can go for several £100s, and I'm just talking about ones that are generally punched. And general sort of mean values or values you'd have to spend right now on eBay to get them. So you probably have to spend about £100 for Clone Commander Cody. Then at number 8 you've got Lumat, one of 2 Ewoks released in TVC1 line. You know, that's the pink card back is really nice on that figure. That will cost you, that's VC104. That would cost you about £120. I'll just cross these out as I go. And then at number 7, I think you'd have probably Darth Vader, the Emperor's Wrath, VC115, which was the last one launched. I mean, he has been higher in this, but I think you'd have to spend probably about £125, £130 to get in now. So that would be my number 7. 7. Number 8 would probably be number 7. 6 was 5 would probably be Jango Fett and General Grievous, VC17, and Jango Fett VC34. Again, probably one of my 2 out of 4 or 5 top figures. They look so cool on these cards. Amazing. Both of those probably going to cost you at least £130 plus, maybe £140. So that's kind of 5 and 6. And number 4, in fact, no, sorry, I've got more than 10. I'm probably 11 actually. There's so many nice figures that are all worth over 100 quid. So Luke Dagobah Landing's probably about number 5. He would cost you about £140. Again, Luke is always popular. It looks absolutely amazing. And all these are on my wish list. And I know there's probably people watching like, I can't believe you ain't got them, Keith. I know, I haven't got everything. You know, so yeah, so he's probably about £140. And then coming at probably about number 4, you have got Weequay Skiff Master. He would probably cost you about £150, and he's much more expensive than the other Weequay, which has been re-released, and that's VC48, so about 150 quid. And then coming about the same price, I put it number 3, but probably about the same price, is the Shock Trooper, the red and white version with a really nice sort of Mustafar background, looks so cool. VC110, and he again would cost you about £140–150 to get. And then the top 2, I think, and these change, so you know these prices do fluctuate, and they're all about the same. Depends, you know, what the buyer's willing to pay, really. But I would say the Sand Trooper VC112 with the orange pauldron, you know, he's very sought after. You probably have to spend about 150 quid, maybe 170, 180, 190 pounds to get him. So VC112 is my second highest figure, and then you probably won't be surprised, the most, you know, the most valuable figure still, and it's been a long time, is Princess Leia Slave from Return of the Jedi, VC64. She is still commanding a huge price, probably at least £160 if you want to get her, probably 170, 180, maybe more. Unpunched versions, maybe even higher. So there you go. I mean, I've just gone through ones I like. I've probably gone through 20 odd figures that are all £100 plus. So, you know, it's a very, very valuable line. So that's my little look at some of the best and, you know, the nicest figures you've got from the TVC1 line. So let's have a little look at some of the variants, and some of the foil cards, revenge cards, and yeah, anything else we've got in the collection. So quickly, I want to talk about some of the variants and some of the alternative cards of the TVC1 line. And I don't think for a minute I've probably picked them all up. So, you know, I'll be really interested if you leave any comments in the chat to just put me in the right direction of any I've missed. That you probably know most about these. So starting with Kifaba, Skiff Guard. So that came in a grey bandana and also a red bandana. And as always, I'll put pictures up of the variants. This is a UKG 95, so pretty nice piece back from 2011. But again, it was released in a red bandana, so a little variant for you. Probably one of the most well-known, or second most well-known, was the Cardback variation for the Senate Guard. I think this is the second alternative image. I'll put up the original. The original is a very close-up. I think it's a bit of a mock-up, not a true reflection of the film, whereas this is. So yeah, that's a true, what I would say a true Cardback variation. This is a CAS 85 version of the figure, so really quite nice. Probably the most famous, as you probably all know, and I'll talk about the chase figures the grail figures in a minute, is VC 210 Yoda, which is a Revenge of the Sith figure, but it was re-released for the Canada launch in the Return of the Jedi Cardback version, which is a different Cardback, and it's massively sought after. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So there's another, you know, classic Cardback variation, albeit a completely different Cardback for you. And then we also had Luke Skywalker Endor Capture. It came out, I think, initially like this, and then later on they changed it to the Jedi Knight version, which is a picture of him in Jabba's palace, which I'll put up a picture of it. So there was another interesting Cardback variation for you. And then finally, I think, a little variation. You had the Rebel Commando, which was, it has happened in a few lines I've gone through in the past. You've got the white version and you've got the coloured face version of the Rebel Commando. So a small variation there. I thought there was also a variation with Commander Gree in terms of the binoculars, but in a different position. But I couldn't see anything. I did a bit of research, couldn't find anything on that, and I had a funny feeling there was a Han Solo alternative card back, but again, I couldn't find anything on that. So if you've got any details on any other variations, then please put a comment in the chat. Yeah, and sorry everyone, the one obvious one I did miss in terms of small variations is the Dagobah landing Luke. So you had a version with a blue lightsaber, and you had a version with the clear white lightsaber. Again, I don't think the value's too different between the two, but it's one that's worth a mention. Yeah, so in the TVC1 line, they also launched, I think it was 11 foil chase variations, and these are really sought after. I talked about them at the start of the video, and they're really cool. They've got the really silver racetrack, looks really, really nice. I think the Cardback's the same, but these are really, really sought after. This is a Magna Guard, probably about 140, 150 quid figure at least. But they have some really, really nice ones in the line. I mean, I'll just put some pictures up of them in no particular order. They had Anakin, it's probably about £130. General Grievous, you know, he'll cost you about 170 plus. Darth Vader, and the Magna Guard we've seen. Han Solo, Sand Trooper, Commander Cody, he again can be £150 plus. Boba Fett, Clone Trooper, Luke Bespin, and Emperor Palpatine. So yeah, a really nice line of figures. 11 of those. I only got the one, which is graded. So you know, again, I'm more figures I need to get. So in 2012, Hasbro launched what they call the Lost line, which is a bit of a throwback to what the Cardbacks originally could have been looked like, and they were absolutely gorgeous. Probably one of my favourite Cardback types, with a really nice Star Wars logo in the background, Leia and Luke, the classic version, a picture of the character, and here we've got a Shock Trooper, and then the V-Wing, a theme that went on in all the 6 figures that were launched. And they were actually launched in the Carbonite chamber, which had another grail in it, the Jar Jar Binks in Carbonite Jar Jar Binks, which I'll talk about in a minute. But really, really nice line. As I said, there were 6 launched. I've got 3 here graded. You've got the Shock Trooper, which is CS90, and these Cardbacks are absolutely gorgeous. Really, probably one of my favourite Cardbacks, as I said. And there you go on the back. You can see all the other versions on the back. But a really, really, really nice set that's very, very popular. And then you had a recreation of VC115, Darth Vader's the Emperor's Wrath. But this time you've got the Shuttle Tidarium, and you've got the TIE Interceptor there. But really, really nice artwork. Really, really nice. These are all worth sort of, I don't know, 60, 70, maybe £50. Not huge amounts, but really, really nice. Getting more popular. And here's the Clone Trooper Lieutenant. With the gunship in the background, and there you go, really, really nice. But you could also get there's a 3 others. You can get Jar Jar Binks, you can get the Sand Trooper, and you can get and Leo Garner Bespin, and I'll pop a picture up. But really lovely collection that came with the chamber set. There are also some exclusives or mail-aways in the TVC collection. This is one of the mail-aways. This is a 2010 VCP03. Sorry, let me spin it around so you can see it. VCP03, which was a great figure to have because it was a throwback to the original Boba Fett, and it had the rocket firing mechanism on the back. So really nice, and this is quite sought after. Now these probably go for £100, £140, and they came in a white mailer. Sometimes you can get these graded with those. And they also did a white prototype Boba Fett, which is VC61, which I'll put a picture up. I've got one here somewhere, but I just can't locate it. So I'll put those up. So there's a couple of mailaways. There are also a couple of exclusives. One was Jocasta New, which is a Brian's Toys exclusive. Now, this is just a card back. I'll put pictures up of the actual figure. It came in a really nice blue box with a little statue that came out from the Jedi Temple. You actually, within the box, you get a spare card back, so which is why I happen to have one. So a lot of people don't realise that when you actually open it, you get a spare card inside. And then you also have, there was also a Bounty Hunter Conventions 2-pack, with Forloom and Zucus, which again is quite popular. They're probably individually about £70 each. You can probably get the set for about just over £100. So yeah, that was a few of the exclusives that you can get. So seeing as we're looking at the figure line from TVC1, I think we should include this week the special action figure sets, and there was quite a few of them. I think there's probably about 20 or so. But I'll just look at the sort of non-standard ones first of all. There were a bulk of about 15 where you got the free packs, and then there were a few double packs, and again, these are very popular. All of these here you see in front of you, they probably cost you between 60 and 80, 90 quid these days, but very, very exclusive. These were the Kmart exclusive. So you had the scanning crew, so your 2 Imperial officers with a sort of scanning box or box of goods there. So really popular these sets are. And then to accompany that, you had another scanning crew, which is a stormtrooper and another officer. So really nice sets, really popular. And then you moved on to sort of a bit of a focus on Endor. So I'm going to include this today because it's got 2 Ewoks inside. You got the Ewok Assault Catapult, again about 70 quid, and you had Chubray and Stemsy included in that pack, but really popular. And then you had, following the theme of the Return of the Jedi, you had 2 Endor ATST drivers or crew, what you want to call them. So really cool if you've got your ATST. And then finally, again, all about £70. You had 2 Ewok scouts, and they were, I think it's Wonka, and Middle Warwick to complete your collection. So yeah, really cool double packs that were launched, and now we'll look at the triple packs. Yeah, so then you had the classic triple packs, which were again a throw pack to those really very rare original vintage figure releases back in the 70s. So there were 9 triple packs released, and these continued in TVC2 line, so you've got to be very careful which ones are which, but I think I've got it right today. So yeah, I think they came in 2 variations, the US release and then the European releases, which you've got the extra text on the front. So these are both called the villain packs. Most of these are anywhere between 40 and sort of 80, 90 pounds. A couple of them are a bit more expensive than others, so I'll pick those out as we go. They're all Kmart or Target exclusives, which is why they're quite rare and can be a little bit difficult to track down. So yeah, they're all free packs. You've got the classic villain pack there. This is the also villain pack here with Boba Fett inside. Then you've got a couple Rebel sets. You've got the Rebel set here, which is figures from Hoth. But I love the background, bright pink. It makes it really look cool and makes the figures pop out. They look really, really nice. And these sets are really nice. I've got a few graded as well. And then you've got another Rebel set with FX7 etc. in there. This was a little bit bash, but yeah, really nice sets. And then you've got a droids set. Yeah, the droid set is just called the droid set, which is probably one of the lesser valuable ones, probably about 30-35 quid, that one. And then these 3 at the end, these are probably the most expensive ones. You've got the Imperial Forces set, which can cost 70-80 pounds. It's quite hard to get hold of. And then you've got the another Imperial set, again maybe 70 pounds to get hold of, quite difficult. It looks really nice, a red background again. And then probably the 2 most difficult ones to get hold of are the Android set with C-3PO, R2-D2 and Chewbacca. Very quite difficult, again a Target exclusive obviously. And then finally the Hero set, which again at the moment they're going for sort of 80-90 pounds, and they've come up a little bit recently after a bit of a drop. So there you go, that's the 9 sets. Now they also did I believe it's from Mexico, a triple pack. I think it's Mexico, I'm not really sure, but I'll just try to get it in camera. I won't get it all in camera, but it's a free pack, and it's a huge piece, which covers these 3. It covers the Rebel set, the Bespin Alliance. Actually, I didn't have that there, so that's probably 10 actually classic ones. The Bespin Alliance, and then the Imperial set there you see. On the back, I'll just check, is it a Mexican release? No, I'm not sure actually. I think it might be just a UK Hasbro release, but really cool backing card. It's got all the different backs of all three sets there, so really nice. Now that set there can cost you, I would say, anywhere between 140 and 200 pounds. They're not that rare. There are a few around, but difficult to get in good condition. We've got a couple of rips. So yeah, there you go. So there's the Triple Packs collection from the TVC2 line.
So in 2011 we had the Comic-Con Revenge of the Jedi Death Star pack, and this is where you could get a version of the Revenge of the Jedi figures. And as I said, there were 12 normal scale figures and then 2 smaller ones. They were also released individually, but they had a leaflet in the bottom of them, so they were slightly different. But you can see you had Luke, Stormtrooper, you had Rebel Commander, R2, you had Darth Vader, B-Wing pilot, and then one of the grails we'll talk about later on, the mouse droid. Very sought after. And over here you've got Boba Fett, Han Solo and Endor, Admiral Akbar, Wicket, one of again, a bit of a grail, Princess Leia slave outfit, which is worth a lot of money, probably £300-400. Revenge of the Jedi TIE Fighter pilot, and again one of the grails, Salacious Crumb, which has just been relaunched in TVC2 line. But there you go, 14 figures released in the Revenge of the Jedi line from 2011.
Yeah, so let's lastly talk about some of the holy grails of the TVC1 line, and there are a few of them I expect you all know about. We've already seen VC66 and VC67, the mouse droid and Salacious Crumb from the Death Star SDCC release from 2011. Now they're probably both worth £450-ish loose, and they fluctuate quite a lot. They come down a little bit because of the re-release of the TVC2 line, especially of obviously Salacious Crumb, but still £450 for a figure that's this big. And I put some pictures up, obviously, is a massive price. The other grail is the Jar Jar in Carbonite from the Chamber set from 2012. Very sought after. That can range from anywhere from £600 to £700-800 these days, ungraded. So really sought after, the Jar Jar in Carbonite. And then the other one, probably the most sought after one, is the Canadian VC20 I've talked about. They can vary again anywhere from £600-900 unpunched, and more if they're graded. So some really valuable grails in this collection. Things like, I've not talked about things like an unpunched Cody or other things like that are really rare. Again, they can go sort of for several £100s. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at how much you'd have to spend to get the TVC1 line on eBay now. And now, as I said earlier on, these prices do fluctuate a hell of a lot. The TVC line's going through a bit of a hiatus at the minute, where you've got a lot of the TVC2 have brought out, old TVC1 figures, so the prices have dropped and then they recover. So things are ever changing, but this is where we're at as of today. And I do go into eBay and sales elsewhere in a lot of detail, and I've got huge spreadsheets to sit by on this, so I don't just make it up. So anyway, yeah, so there were 115 basic figures of the TVC1 line, and I'm not going to go into the Canadian variants and all the different card backs and all that. These are just for the common ones, be it American or European, generally unpunched. So for the 115 figures, you'd have to spend about £7,601. And that gives you an average of £66.10 per figure. So yeah, I mean, that's easily the highest average of any line of the 34 odd lines that I've done. It's easily the highest, which you'd expect. And then if you look at the exclusives, so you've got the couple Boba Fett, the Jacasto New, the couple Bounty Hunters, and they would be £490, and then that would give you an average of £98 each for those. Then the foil variants, I went through, there's 11 of those, and they are very expensive. You'd have to spend £1,250 to get those at a massive average of £113.64. Then you move on to the revenge cards. Not quite as much as the full cards, but still quite expensive. On eBay, you'd have to spend probably about £620 for all 12. It average of £51 and 67p, and obviously the Princess Leia would be one of the the standout figures of those 12 card backs. Then the special action figures sets, there was 15 of those, and then based on eBay's price, you have to spend £980 on those, and an average of about £65 and 33p. Again, they fluctuate a lot. One week you could get the villain set, for instance, for £40. Next week you might have to spend £70 or £80. So they do fluctuate quite a lot. The two multi-packs I went over last week. We went through those, £2,750. That's £1,375 each. And we went through the vehicles last week, which was £3,150. And the 17 of those would have cost you £185 and 29p each. So, as I said last week, the figures and play sets, £5,900. But what's the TVC line altogether? The TVC 1 line. Not 2, just 1. Wait for it. Yes. £16,796 to get the whole line. If you went out and bought it now, you had all that. That's how much cash you'd need to go and buy it right now. And shamefully, as I said at the start of the episode, I need a lot of the TVC 1. It's my biggest hole in my collection, and I need about 67 figures, 20 foil revenge figures, couple exclusives, and the gunship. So I'd have to spend about £7,830 still to finish a line, which is a hell of a lot of money. So there you have it. That's a TVC 1. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll move on to the TVC 2 line, which is even bigger. So, I don't know how long those videos will be. I'll try to get them into 2 videos. It might even be 3. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mando number 5.